Folks, we are 100 days out from the 2026 midterm election. So I wanted to talk with you plainly and clearly about where we are, what's at stake, and what all of us need to do between now and November 3rd. This is the home stretch, the time for candidates and those who support them to make the closing argument. And for me, it boils down to this. It is time to put American families first, to fight for their needs, not the big corporations and billionaires who have so much power and money. And we'll do that in three ways. First, by lowering the cost of living. The skyrocketing prices for everything from groceries, gas, electricity, healthcare, housing, insurance, things that are crushing families around my district and all over this country. Second, by heading off the crisis in healthcare, childcare, and elder care that's unfolding because of reckless cuts Trump and the MAGA Republicans in Congress enacted last year to pay for their huge tax giveaway to billionaires and corporations. And third, by tackling the rampant corruption in Washington head on and bringing accountability to this administration because Trump and his cronies are fleecing the American people. So let's start with lowering costs. If MAGA Republicans were listening, if they cared, they would stop gaslighting us about this being some kind of golden age. They'd acknowledge that families are feeling the burden of rising costs every day, and they'd keep the promise they made 2 years ago to lower the cost of living. But Trump and MAGA Republicans not only don't care, they're making things worse with a senseless war that's sending prices through the roof, and with tariffs and trade wars that have hit every American family with thousands in extra costs. The next Congress, under a Democratic majority, will end that madness. Trump's war of choice in Iran is not just a terrible foreign policy fiasco that is costing American lives. It's flat out illegal. I opposed it from the start because the Constitution gives Congress, not Trump acting alone, the power to decide when our country goes to war. And his war is hammering working class Americans with higher costs right now. Gasoline, over 20% higher. Airline tickets, 26% higher. Fertilizer spiking to 60% higher, which means more expensive food. New surcharges on shipments by FedEx and UPS, the list goes on. All of us are paying for a war we didn't want and we don't support. Now, the same goes for Trump's unhinged tariffs and trade wars. This MAGA Congress has been afraid to confront him in his use of fake emergencies to justify seizing Congress's constitutional authority over trade, despite all the economic chaos, the thousands of dollars we're all paying each year in higher prices, and the way his trade wars are turning our closest allies into adversaries. The next Congress is going to have to grow a spine. We're going to have to reclaim our constitutional power and put an end to Trump's illegal wars and trade wars that are driving up costs. Now, our commitment to saving healthcare, childcare, and elder care will also lower costs, but it's about more than just that. It's also about our quality of life. It's about our values of fairness and compassion, and it's about jobs. Republicans' big, ugly bill last year triggered over $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, Medicare, Head Start, and programs that feed and care for vulnerable Americans, including children and seniors. They also refused to extend Affordable Care Act tax credits that help millions of working class families afford health insurance. All of these cruel cuts were not to balance the budget or reduce the national debt. Republicans did it to pay for massive tax giveaways to billionaires and corporations. And now, as Trump told an audience just this spring, they want to cut Medicaid, Medicare, and childcare even deeper because Trump says we can't afford them. We're too busy fighting his war. And you know what? Trump has it exactly backward. We can't afford his unhinged war making because we have real needs here at home. Now just think about the price tag of this war so far. When you hear $70 billion from the administration, which is a lot, don't believe it because they're lying. Just like Trump lies in his shifting explanations for why he started this war and how long it will last, just like they tried to lie about the number of soldiers who've been killed so far. The real cost is an order of magnitude higher, closer to $700 billion, because you have to add in things they don't talk about. The damage we've sustained to our bases and equipment, the drastically reduced stockpiles of missiles and munitions that they have to replenish, and the hundreds of service members who require care and treatment because they've incurred serious injuries and disabilities that they'll carry for the rest of their lives. So that's enough money, if you add up all of those costs, to undo Republicans' drastic Medicaid cuts that are closing rural hospitals and clinics and straining the entire health system. It's enough money to do other things too, things they say we can't afford, like investing in early childhood education and job training. It's enough if we care about supporting education, to pay every public school teacher in America an extra $13,000 a year for the next 10 years. Or to finally keep the promise Congress made over 50 years ago to fully fund special education under the IDEA law. We could do that for the next decade. For the amount this war has already cost us, we could end the housing crisis in this country and dramatically reduce homelessness by building 3 million affordable housing units. So when Trump says we can't afford things like health care, child care, nursing home care, food assistance for the poor and disabled, because we have to fight his wars, there's something we can do about it 100 days from now. The American people can raise a giant middle finger to Trump and his warped priorities, and we can elect a Democratic Congress to end this betrayal. And finally, rooting out the corruption and the crooks who are fleecing the American people. So important. While families are struggling, Trump and his inner circle have monetized the presidency to enrich themselves by billions of dollars with shady crypto schemes, insider trading and market manipulation. They've steered federal grants and loan guarantees to companies they invest in, granted public policy favors to foreign governments that pour money into Trump family business deals. The corruption of this administration has no parallel in American history. And while Trump has the gall to ignore rising costs and claim we can't afford childcare, Medicare, and Medicaid, he's spending your tax dollars like a drunken sailor on his own vanity projects. A $600 million ballroom, a 250-foot arch that would desecrate the view of Arlington Cemetery, the reflecting pool fiasco, and up to $1 billion in taxpayer funds to retrofit security features onto the shiny new Air Force One gifted to him by the Emir of Qatar. And Trump has spent about $70 billion so far on a brutal, lawless mass deportation program that terrorizes communities, betrays our values, and has resulted in the murder of innocent Americans. The beginning of the end to all of this can happen 100 days from now. But that's up to us, all of us. I'm ready to lead the charge in the next Congress. And under a Democratic majority, I know we can drive these changes. But it's going to take all of us working together for the next 100 days. Your full engagement, your voice, your energy, and commitment. Talk to your neighbors. Show up, volunteer, donate what you can. Tell everyone you know to vote as early as they can, because there will be shenanigans and schemes to try to disrupt and distort this election. And our job, in addition to being ready and being lawyered up, which we are, is to make this victory too big to rig. So for the next 100 days, remember this: we are fighting for a country where families come first, where healthcare is protected, where corruption is confronted, where war is the last resort, and where democracy is defended, so that future generations can have the same freedoms we do. If you believe in that future, let's get to work. We've got 100 days to finish strong and save this country. Thank you.